When I looked at the call for this public art project, I saw that there was going to be a kind of desert arroyo, and they were changing the look of the entrance to the museum. And I thought, well, what sculpture would complement the arroyo? So that was really a big part of deciding about the subject matter. I had had an idea to do a 10-foot wide wingspan bird for 10 years, and it had been a finalist twice before. And so I thought I would use that for this project. And I looked up birds of the area, and red-tailed hawks are a year-round resident, and they're a bird where I live too, so it resonated with me on that front. They wanted a sculpture that had that would interact with the wind. And since I like to combine glass with metals, and I had done this type of piece before where the wind is supposed to move it, and it kind of animates the sculpture a little bit. I got into the door of the glass world opened when I was an undergraduate and living in Dallas. I got a job at a traditional glass studio, and it opened up the door to that material, and I'm still enjoying it. I love the transparency and the color. Like the colors in the red tail are fused in so they'll never fade. So it's kind of a paradox. Glass is really more permanent than metal. It'll outlast it, but at the same time it has that transparency, fragility aspect. So I like combining it with metal because the metal is strong and the glass has other properties. And the whole process took about a year, and I came up for my, when I had to kind of do the proposal to the committee last April. I had to jump through some hoops that I'm not used to, like getting the insurance, getting the blueprints from a structural engineer, and some of those things kind of slowed it down. But I knew how to do the glass part very well, so that was the first aspect of the sculpture I did. And then I have done some laser jet cutting of metal for previous projects. So the metal for this was cut in San Antonio. And then I welded the bird together. I had a friend of mine who's good with large, heavy things do the base. And then both the base and the bird were galvanized, where you take it to a galvanizing company and they dip it. And then it's been patinaed. And before coming here, I drove up to Throckmorton, Texas, where the two pieces were kind of joined together for the first time. And then when they came here, the glass was applied at the museum site. So this was really the first time I ever saw it completely put together. And another aspect was the lighting, because at night the bird is illuminated. And I worked with a lighting company in Georgetown, Texas, Ringdale, and they did custom lighting for the piece, and we used their electrician who just happens to live in Lubbock, and he did a great job. So the stand, the sculpture, and the lighting were the three components that all had to come in at the last minute and work together, and I'm very thankful they did. When I looked online at the collection, I was very impressed with the artist you have, and I saw that it's one of the 10 top-rated university public art collections, and I know Jesus Moroles and some of the other, Joe Barrington has some pieces here, and I'm very honored to be included in such a nice public art collection. I'm very relieved it all worked out, and I'm very pleased to see it in place. And again, the original idea was from 10 years ago, 2009, so to see it finally realized is very rewarding. I hope that they notice that it ties in with the arroyo, with the plantings and the landscaping at the base. And it changes. When I first looked at the museum, it was kind of an austere, blank kind of plaza, and now it's much more nature-oriented. And I think with the kind of explanatory text, and I saw one was about the wildlife of the area, that they would tie in that the red-tailed hawk connects with the birds, as we can hear, of the area. I'm very grateful for Texas Tech to choose me for this project, and it's allowed me to stretch my capabilities and I'm very proud to be part of their collection.